Yo, this is Gay YouTuber. Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, I want to do something a little bit different. And this is going to kind of start some videos that I'm going to be doing here over the next couple of weeks as we get closer to 2K26 with the news that it's dropping on August 29th for early access. I mean, that's about a month and a half away at this point. That's not that far in the future. And so I think it's definitely worth talking about kind of my hopes for 2K26 in different ways. So I want to go mode by mode and honestly break down the mode, what I liked about the mode this year, what I didn't, and how I think it could be improved next year if it needs to be, which honestly, for most of these modes, I do think they need to be. That being said, we're going to start with the Breakout mode today. The reason we're going to start with the Breakout mode is because I think it was a complete abject disaster. Honestly, offline gameplay as a whole this year was kind of a disaster for the most part, in my opinion. Domination is fine. Could it be tweaked? Sure. I'm honestly not going to make a video specifically on Domination. I think it could be better. I'd like to see the player rewards be a little bit better, maybe a little bit more MT being able to be made from it throughout the year, kind of like the Era's Domination made it able to for you to make more MT, but then the rest of them weren't quite as good for making MT as the Era's Domination was. That being said, I honestly don't think Domination is that bad of a mode. The rest of offline though, and especially Breakout this year, is just a disaster. I think Breakout was one of the worst modes 2K's ever added to MyTEAM for multiple reasons. Number one, they didn't explain how it worked. People had to figure out how the Breakout mode worked themselves this year as they went. They didn't explain that you didn't really need the prize points. The prize points don't actually matter. As long as you play the games, you get enough prize points no matter what to get whatever rewards. They didn't explain the way that portals worked, and I still don't really know how portals work, to be totally honest. I know Most Ballin made a bunch of videos on that earlier this year, and there are people I'm sure who understand it, but basically, they dropped this new mode and said, figure it out. We're not telling you anything. And so that's what happened. People kind of figured it out. The problem is, not only did 2K not really help people in terms of how to figure out how to do the mode and how things worked and how the portals worked, they never explicitly explained what rewards were available at a single time this year. They never consistently explained anything. They didn't consistently update the game mode. Just like this is a consistent theme, it's not a Breakout specific thing, but every reward you did get was unsellable, of course, as is the case with everything in MyTEAM these days, pretty much, unfortunately. And honestly, I think most annoyingly, the rewards themselves just sucked. It takes a long time to play a Breakout board. And yeah, you could get portals at times and stuff, and you go through a portal and you'd think that would make your rewards better, but the problem is when your best rewards on an entire Breakout board, you play the entire board, you get all these outside spots, and your best rewards might be at points in the year 10,000 MT or a Hall of Fame badge or stuff like that. And I'm gonna be totally honest, I don't even know what rewards you can get from Breakout at this point in the year, because the mode has been so obsolete to me that I don't even care. Like, there's been, yes, you could get super special rare players off of these boards this year. You saw that happen occasionally, people getting pink diamond LeBron in the first week of the game, for example, from Breakout. But the odds of actually getting something like that were so obscenely rare. I would guarantee almost all of y'all watching this video probably didn't get anything realistically from those. And just as a whole, man, this was such a underwhelming game mode. And I really do think that it took away from a pretty important portion of the community. I mean, y'all know me, I don't play a lot of offline. I'm a heavy online guy. I always have been. My content circulates around trying to help people build their teams to get better at online gameplay. You know what I mean? Like, that is a big portion, honestly, the main portion of my content, gameplay, so people know which cards to use online, how-to videos for online stuff, rankings for online, team building for online. Like, my focus is online, but at the same time, offline is a very important aspect of this game mode, and you need things that are rewarding for the offline players to do. And I'm not saying they need to be as rewarding as they are for online players. In fact, I don't think they do. But they need to be better than whatever this garbage was this year. The worst offline game mode 2K has ever added. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got no rewards really besides very minuscule MT amounts per game, and you could grind an entire board, spend hours and hours and hours of time, and your best reward is a Hall of Fame badge or 10,000 MT or different things like that. A random lower tier player pack that's going to be RNG and unsellable and likely not going to give you anything good really throughout the whole year. That's what Breakout was. And like, it was a completely pointless mode. I never had any desire to grind Breakout in the slightest. And I think that's the way that the vast majority of the community, even the offline community, felt about Breakout this year. I really think that's the case. And that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? I think offline's an important aspect of the 2K ecosystem, and hopefully we see some improvement next year, whether that be they just completely scrap Breakout and bring back triple threat offline and clutch time offline and things like that, like they've had in the past. Maybe they change Breakout to where it's actually, the most important thing with Breakout is, number one, it has to be easier to understand for people playing the game. Number two, I think it has to be more rewarding. And number three, and this is going to be a consistent thing that I'm probably going to ask for and realistically not going to get, but I will mention it in multiple of these videos, specific rewards for each game completed. The way that door games and wheel spins and ball drops and things like that were, I would love sellable rewards as well. That's one of the biggest things in general that I'd love to see in 2K26, but I am fully aware they're not going to go backwards in 2K's mind in that respect. It'd be forwards for us, obviously, but they're not going to go back to the way things used to be in that respect. They're not going to give us something that we liked and wanted that they took away from us. They're not probably going to give that back because it loses them money at the end of the day. And I think at the end of the, I mean, if you, that's what they care about more than anything else, of course. So not that them caring about money is a bad thing. They're a business. The level at which they have this level of greed towards their consumer base, though, is very unfortunate in my opinion. Obviously, it's been really apparent this year and last, and that's a real shame for those of us who love basketball and love basketball video games. And it's pretty easy for this game to feel very just like pointless, in all honesty, to play. And I think that's the way a lot of people felt with this Breakout mode this year, man. Why would you want to play this? I don't know. My biggest thing for Breakout, though, is just whether it's Breakout or whether it's another mode, you have to have something that at least feels like it might potentially be worth doing. And I just don't think Breakout was that this year, man. I just don't think it was. You have no mode reward players. You have no guaranteed rewards ever. There were no guaranteed rewards ever, at least in other modes. The rewards might have sucked, but at least you had some sort of guaranteed rewards at 15, 60, 120, and 200 wins in Showdown, at different win streak marks and triple threat. But you didn't get guaranteed rewards in Breakout. I guess as the year did progress, they did eventually add a triple threat and a clutch time offline reward ladder, but it took them until what, season 5 to add this? And even then the rewards themselves kind of sucked, but I guess you can grind for this stuff through offline now. So I guess there is some sort of guaranteed reward in Breakout, but this wasn't even there for half the year. I just think, in all honesty, 2K never made Breakout a priority this year. They very rarely updated it. They very rarely communicated about it. They very rarely gave people a real incentive to play the game mode. And I just think if you're going to add a single player mode, and you're going to do this new creative thing like Breakout, make it good, make it worthwhile, make it something that your community wants to play, instead of this absolute disaster that whatever happened this year with Breakout was. I think Breakout was the worst mode in the game this year. And there are other modes that I'm going to complain about, but I think Breakout was the worst. I really do think they just completely swung and missed with this mode, and I hope to see some improvement for next year, because an offline mode like this is something that could be really cool if it was executed properly and easier to understand and had better rewards and things like that. But with that being said, I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm just expressing what I'd like to see changed. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.